Right now at 6, a motorcyclist seriously injured after police say a driver intentionally took him out. What we're learning this evening about the rider and the man authorities say was behind the wheel.
Plus, a proposed healthcare mega merger called off, why OHSU and Legacy Health will not be joining forces, and the questions that remain.
Is Legacy going to continue on as it was? What about all the partnerships that exist between OHSU and Legacy?
Then, why officials say a growing number of bodies pulled from local rivers aren't a cause for alarm.
And a booming tourism hotspot in the Northwest bracing for a summer bust.
Some of our events that normally draw folks over from Canada are getting cancellations.
The budget cuts and changing attitudes toward the U.S. that could hit Washington's Olympic Peninsula hard.
First at 6, the deal is over. Plans for a merger between OHSU and Legacy Health are officially no more. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Libby Dowsett is here with us now. Libby, first things first, do we know why this deal fell through?
They're not giving any specifics right now, just a general statement. And it was a year and a half ago when they first announced plans to merge. Tonight, after months of time and money invested, OHSU and Legacy Health are going their separate ways. Oregon Health and Science University called off its planned acquisition of Legacy Health on Monday morning. OHSU released this statement saying in part, after careful consideration of the evolving operating environment, OHSU and Legacy have determined that the best way to meet the needs of the communities they serve is to move forward as individual organizations. Supporters of the merger, some 18 months in the making, included labor unions representing some of the 30,000 employees who would have been affected.
Is someone else going to try to purchase Legacy? Is Legacy going to continue on as it was? What about all the partnerships that exist between OHSU and Legacy?
The Oregon Nurses Association released a statement saying it supported the deal because it believed it would lead to better working conditions for frontline caregivers and high standards for patient care. Opponents argued it would have led to a monopoly and higher prices for patients.
I think if a for-profit out-of-state company comes in and buy Legacy, it's going to jump up even more.
There were plenty of signs of trouble for the merger, according to reporter Elizabeth Hayes, who covers healthcare for the Portland Business Journal.
OHSU is facing some pretty steep cuts in grant funding, so that's going to really have a big impact on their bottom line. Even without that, they were looking at, like a $45 million loss for the fiscal year 2026.
Not to mention potential impending cuts to Medicare, which would affect both health systems. Hayes says not the same environment as 2 years ago.
The economy is shifting. There's a ton of uncertainty.
In April, a sign the community was also feeling hesitant.
A community review board had recommended that it not be approved.
What could have been? A combined system with 12 hospitals and more than 100 other locations.
But I do think the merger would have been good for Oregon. I'm hopeful, but I'm also very concerned about what's going to happen now and where we go from here.
And one thing to come from this year and a half of negotiations, the union says more Legacy employees have become interested in joining the union. We're told they're about to get started on their first contract. David, Christine.
Yeah, still so many questions, though, about what comes next. Thank you, Libby.
In your headlines, Vancouver police say a man who was shot and killed was the victim of a car break-in that turned into a home invasion after the suspects found a garage door opener. This is around 4 a.m. Saturday on Southeast French Road, just off State Route 14. Investigators say multiple people were involved after they got the opener out of a rental car. Authorities say they opened the garage. That's where they were confronted by a resident and shot him. The victim died at the hospital. He has not been identified. Police say the suspects are also connected to another car prowl incident on Northeast 15th Street near 87th Avenue.
And take a look at your screen. Beaverton police need your help finding a driver who seriously injured a motorcyclist in an apparent road rage incident on Highway 26. It happened around 6:15 this morning in the westbound lanes near the Cedar Hills Boulevard exit. Dash cam video from a dump truck shows the motorcyclist gesturing toward a blue Kia Carnival. We have paused the video at the point of impact here, but that's when the Kia's driver swerves into the middle lane, hitting the motorcycle and sending its rider across the freeway. The rider was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The Kia's driver is described as a white man, possibly in his 30s, with a black beard. Call Beaverton Police if you have any information. Our Alma McCarty is talking to the motorcyclist's sister right now. We'll hear from her at 11.
To a sewage spill in southeast Portland, where city crews are warning people to avoid Johnson Creek east of 122nd. An estimated 1,600 gallons of sewage overflowed into a tributary to the creek this morning. Officials say it came out of multiple maintenance holes in that area. Some of the overflow reaching a ravine that drains into the creek. We'll keep you posted.
And a heads up for drivers in the Longview area. Today marked the first day of 3 weeks of daily closures for the Lewis and Clark Bridge over the Columbia River to Oregon. Crews will be out on the bridge making repairs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday until May 23rd. Drivers will have to detour through Astoria or Vancouver to cross the river during the day. The Wahkiakum County Ferry at Westport is also an option. Again, work is expected to finish by Friday, May 23rd.
We actually have one more headline for you. More new lawsuits filed against the Trump administration by the AGs of Washington, Oregon, and a handful of other states. They include one suing over President Trump's executive order that halts federal approvals for both offshore and onshore wind energy projects. Those are now under review. Oregon and Washington have also joined a new lawsuit challenging cuts some 20,000 jobs to the Department of Health and Human Services. Matt?
Well, what a beautiful way to start the week with sunshine and really warm temperatures. There's the Reserve Golf Course right now, 76 degrees, super low humidity at 23%. So yeah, if you haven't been watering the garden yet, you may need to soon. Our high today was that 77 so far, and you know what? Tomorrow's going to be even warmer. Look at the 80 down in Brookings. That is a little bit of a tease as to what's to come to Western Oregon. Now, our average for this date is 67. We were 10 above that, but 10 below the record of 87. That was set way back in 1992. And still, there's been no rain in these early days of May so far, nor will there be tomorrow. Sunny all day long. We'll get up to 85. That'll make tomorrow the warmest day of the year so far. Sunrise is 5:50 and sunset at 8:24. So again, just a really warm summer-like day here in early May on the way tomorrow. It'll be warm again on Friday, even Thursday and Friday, but as we go to the weekend, we transition to cooler and wet weather. I'll let you know if Mother's Day will be a complete washout or just have a few random showers. Guys?
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Now at 6, authorities pulled 4 more bodies from the Willamette River over the weekend. That brings the total number pulled from our local rivers to 9 over the last 3 weeks.
Devin Haskins is live in Gladstone. Devin, you were near where the sheriff's office recovered the body of a missing kayaker on Sunday, the one who went over the falls last month.
Yeah, that missing kayaker went missing in mid-April, and this accounts for one of the many bodies that have been found over the last couple of weeks. And first responders say one of the reasons why we're seeing so many reports of bodies being found is because of the weather. Despite a recent spike in river recoveries, authorities say the number of bodies found this spring are within a typical range. For instance, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office reports that 6 bodies were found in April and May of last year. This April, 5 have been recovered, with 3 more found so far in May.
It has been very busy.
Lake Oswego Fire, which has assisted in several recent recoveries, says warmer weather could be playing a role for more than one reason.
You get more people out. You get people on the side, you get people playing by the water, so they start to notice, if there's something in the water, they actually make the phone call and call 911.
Rising river temperatures are also a factor. The colder the river water, the longer a body will stay under the water. In just the past week and a half, Lake Oswego Fire says the water has warmed by about 2 degrees.
As the temperature increases, the gases start to release in the body, which then makes them float. So as we increase in the temperature of the water, so does the activity of the body.
In the last 3 weeks, at least 9 bodies have been located in the Willamette River, Columbia River, and Multnomah Channel. On Sunday, the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office pulled a body from the water at Meldrum Bar Park, believed to be a missing kayaker from California. Just the day before, Multnomah County deputies came across 3 bodies, just hours apart. One they say was an accidental drowning from earlier in the day. Authorities have not yet identified the victims. And back in April, 5 bodies were found. Only 2 so far have been identified. And as many recoveries as there have been, First responders say they also serve a vital purpose.
It's closure for the family, and that's what we want.
Lake Oswego Fire says this is a good reminder, though, that even though the temperatures are getting warmer, that the river temperatures are still pretty cold. And if you do go out, know your abilities and wear a life jacket. Back to you.
Devin Haskins reporting live in Gladstone near the river. Thank you so much, Devin.
Always a good reminder there. Well, a local theater is now on a mission to raise money after the Trump administration announced sweeping cuts to the National Endowment for the Arts.
So Portland Playhouse learned last Friday that it lost a $25,000 NEA grant. When the Playhouse went public with the news, people not only filled the seats, but they also donated more than enough to cover the missing grant money. Now, Portland Playhouse has started a crowdfunding campaign for the other 27 Oregon arts organizations that had their grants cut to the tune of nearly $600,000.
So it's mobilizing people, and that I'm really proud of, and it's good to see.
I think it's a campaign about voice. It's a campaign about saying, we are here, we cannot be canceled.
For a list of all the Oregon arts groups affected and to learn how to donate, you can go to this story at our website, kgw.com. And coming up tonight on The Story, dozens of layoffs, higher fees for parking and utilities, as well as safeguarding policing and public safety. Those are just a few of the things in the Portland mayor's new proposed budget.
A lot to dig into. Blair Best is in the newsroom with a preview. Blair?
David, this comes at a challenging time as the city faces a $93 million budget shortfall and the ongoing uncertainty with federal funds. Now, Mayor Wilson's total budget is $8.5 billion, with the most money allocated to public works. He's proposing cutting nearly 200 city staff positions, a third coming from Portland Permitting and Development and 14 from the Parks and Rec Department. He also wants to raise parking fees and some of your utility bills. In addition, he wants to allocate $24 million from state and metro money to go to opening homeless shelter beds and $16 million to remove campsites. Now, as for public safety, police and fire, he wants to add $19 million to support their programs while cutting down on overtime costs.
The goal that we set out was community health and safety, and we feel very confident that we achieved that. There are shortcomings in this budget, as would be expected, with such a significant funding gap that we had to address.
Now, the mayor's proposal is not final. City Council still has to sign off on it. And tonight on The Story at 6:30, we'll have much more on the mayor's proposal, including the future of Portland's parks and community centers, plus how some city councilors are reacting. David?
I imagine there's already quite the debate. Thanks, Blair.